Hey everybody, me again. Um, Wanted to come on here and just do briefly. Um, just kind of let you know, and I think I'm not the only person who will be doing this, but I'm gonna take a break from social media for a little bit, and the reason is, well, yeah, the whole Charlie Kirk thing is kind of blown up, and I'm still kind of traumatized from initially watching the video. I know. There's some people out there probably going, oh, well, it just happened. Get over it. Kiss my ass. It keeps playing like a movie in my head, which is tormenting. So I think I need to stay away from social media for a little bit and for maybe a few days or so. Actually, my brother and I communicated on this. I think he's going to do the same thing. Take a break from social media because it really can get your blood pressure up. And I have some things that I need to deal with. You know, I have to figure out the doctor situation. Um, and because I've been focusing on all this stuff, I haven't gotten anything else done because I've been a mess, an emotional mess. Now, I can't help the fact that I'm as sensitive as I am. I was born this way. So, when I was a kid, trust me, I'd get upset over everything. And the older I got, the better I got at not being upset at every little thing. And now I get upset at very major things, but like such as the assassination of a citizen. That's the way I look at Charlie Kirk. He was a citizen. He wasn't a politician. He was just a guy, just a married man with two kids, going from college to college and, asking for a debate. And he didn't deserve to be shot for that. And unfortunately, I have the last 5 seconds of that man's life rolling around in my head right now. And I can see it over and over and over. By the way, if you guys get the chance to watch that video, please don't. Uh, Especially if you're super sensitive like me. If you think you could stomach it, all right, fine, go for it. But I'm going to be blunt again. Seeing that fucked me up. There, I said it. But, I need to deal with it. And I need to deal with it by not being on social media for a little bit and just attending to some other things. You know, since I moved into my house and everything, my house is cluttered. So cluttered, or cluttered AF. So, and I really need to take care of that. And here's what I was planning to do with that. Being the ADHD nut that I can be, um, I have to try and structure things more. And since I don't have the medication for ADHD that I need, which I will be addressing that with the doctor and quite firmly, because I need it back on board so I can stop being this lump of overstimulated, well, you know what I mean. Just kind of a burnout. I think my counselor referred to it once as ADHD burnout, where you're just so overwhelmed by everything that you just kind of stop. You can't do anything. So, and if you try to do something, you don't finish it. But I'll get into all that stuff more. Believe me, I have some stories I could tell you about some of the weirdo things that I've done due to my ADHD and my autism. I think some of you might vaguely remember when I thought someone stole my beautiful SUV. And then I found out that I had accidentally left it down at the mailboxes. So, there's one. If you didn't know any funny stories about me, now you know one. But I'm sure some of my older subscribers would probably remember that one pretty well. And I actually expect to hear from Mayhem or something on that because I think he remembers when that happened. He's just a good buddy of mine here on YouTube, for those who don't know. So I'm going to take a break from, well, I never can truly take a break from the internet because my television runs on it. And, you know, my phone is like internet too. So it's like I'm never really truly going to get away from the internet, but I'm going to stop watching the news for a while. And I'm going to stop looking at YouTube stories and, I don't do much on TikTok. Just mostly throw some of my music on there. But I haven't thrown it nearly as much on TikTok as I have here on YouTube. I even put a couple songs up on Rumble. Anyone else notice that Rumble is kind of dead, so to speak? They're just, I mean, they're not dead, but they're definitely not as active as they once were. That's how I'll put it. Yeah. But I still have that account. And I had a Truth Social account, and I hadn't been there for a while, but now it's telling me that I've been banned. So I did find out that they've got this weird thing that's going on with the one system that they have that's kind of running it. So I think they're trying to figure out the problem. But, oh well. And I don't do much on X, really at all, because that is kind of a hotbed for hostility. And I don't like to do things much on X. But you may see some videos from me if I could decide I'm going to go into my resin a little more hardcore to kind of get over all of this, which might just happen. I might try and do some videos that don't take up a ton of your time, but that will show you kind of the process I take. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and, go ahead and do that, you know. But whether you do a thumbs up or a thumbs down on a video, I mean, it's still all in the stats, and it still does kind of affect the algorithm. So it really doesn't matter if you think that my stuff is crap. So it doesn't really matter. But I just know that we're going to be in a pretty caustic period in this country for a while, and there's going to be a ton of stuff going on the internet and in the news. I've decided that the channel that I'm going to probably watch the most news-wise is going to be Newsmax. And Newsmax is, so far, because I've compared all the others just by watching how they've done a story. Everybody has the same story. Well, who is telling it what way? Who's telling it another? They should all be uniform. They should be reporting the facts. And what we're getting is a lot of skewed left or right. I don't know what the heck Fox is anymore. I don't know. They may be more centrist if you really want to look at it that way. They used to be more of a right-leaning organization, but now it would appear that they are leaning more towards the left, which puts them more in a position of being a center-focused news organization. And my whole occupation before I became disabled, and I did work in 2 different occupations at once. So But I was in broadcasting for quite a few years. And also customer service. I loved doing customer service because it was one way that I could actually talk to people and not have to see them or be right there with them. And so I did both of those at the same time. But I was much younger then too. But yeah, broadcasting is something I know an awful lot about. I did study journalism and radio broadcasting, also television broadcasting. Just, you know, I went to university for that, but I also went to a trade school for radio broadcasting. So, and I was a DJ at a radio station, got here and there, all over the country, really, over the course of almost 12 years. And then you kind of get burnt out with things like broadcasting too. Some people don't, and some people do, and I'm one of those that did. So, and not that I wouldn't want to get back into broadcasting at some point, but just not right now. Not right now. And definitely not in front of a camera or a microphone. I would rather be behind the scenes, being the one tweaking the knobs and everything. I'd rather do that. So we'll see what happens because we are so divided. But now we're starting to become retaliatory, so to speak, if I said that correctly. A lot of people want revenge, and it's like, let's not make two wrongs what you think should be a right. you know you know Killing someone else because they killed someone that you liked, no bueno. So I hope that does not start to happen. So I'm center right, and I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. And I'm looking at the climate we've got here in our country, and I just know it's gonna get worse before it gets better. So I'm what I'm hoping is that the Republican Party does not go overboard with certain things. So legislations, all of that, I want to see some legislation put in that protects public figures, whether they're political or not, that protects them somehow, something that will protect them. Because we've had famous people be killed before. Anyone remember when Dimebag Darrell was shot by a crazed fan? Yeah. And there have been others in the rock and roll community. That kind of thing has happened too. But yeah, the political climate is going to be hot for a while, and it's going to reflect on television and online. So that's why taking a break might be a good thing for me to do. I don't know, it might be a good thing for you to do if you're getting overwhelmed by it. But I think I'm following my brother's advice and gonna fast from the political communities and all of that. So anyway, that's what I wanted to come on and tell you. Sorry Ziggy's not in this one, but he's sitting on top of my hutch, and I put some pistachios up there for him. So he loves to stomp around up there and munch on pistachios, rub his beak on the wall, sit there and talk sometimes. So that's his happy place over there. But anyway, I will see you all at a later time. It might be a couple days. So And, you know, if I do put up another one, it very well may end up being something that has to do with resin. So be on the lookout for that. And, you know, of course, you could always anyway, take care, everybody. Be safe out in this evil and crazy world. And I will see you at a later time. Bye.